Today's show is brought to you by Boat Patana of Boat Avenue and Shambhala, Phuket. For more information on their properties, see the link in the description below. Good morning, Thailand. It's Thursday, the 26th of August, and we have got a lot to get through. And with me today, sitting next to me, Mike Kenner.
Good morning.
And we'll get to your behaviour yesterday in just a moment. And at the other end, we've got Jay.
Hello.
So yesterday, quite a lot of response. And for somebody who told me earlier in the afternoon you don't care about comments, you really arced up.
I actually enjoy them. I enjoy them. So if anyone wants to kind of troll me and just say, oh, nonsense, that I'm a liar, I mean, just carry on. I'm enjoying reading them, and I'll tell you what I think as well.
Yeah,
so.
Not only reading them, you fire back. All right, the whole science of commenting on YouTube is something that we'll address on another day. But another thing yesterday is I made the comment to when we were talking about people booking their SHA Plus hotel. I suggested that you had to book the SHA Plus hotels only through that particular website, and Mike reminded me that in fact that's not the case anymore, that you can book through any of the OTAs, the online travel agents, and that was news. It's actually an update because we published on the Thaiger, referencing the TAT and the Phuket News, on the 29th of June, which was like 2 days before the Sandbox started, that it also emerged yesterday that bookings for accommodation must be made and prepaid through the SHA Plus website. And then we got a link to that website and where you could book. Obviously, that's one of the many things that you say have been modified and made the situation simpler. So that's just to clarify that particular issue. Now, the other thing is, well, Jay, let's get on to the COVID numbers for the day. Let's hope that they're dropping.
Sure, Tim. Today in Thailand, we had 18,501 new infections. 139 infections were from prisons. 229 COVID-related deaths. Currently, we still have 20,606 people who have recovered and discharged from the hospitals. However, we still have 186,934 people still in care.
Okay, so that's the latest numbers, and we've got more details at the thiger.com. Mike, another thing, we were talking about OnlyFans on Monday and how they were sort of disrupting, or perhaps disrupting, the sort of the red light industry in Thailand. And at the time, OnlyFans were talking about banning adult content on their website, but there's been a bit of a change overnight.
Crazy. I mean, I was reading it yesterday evening, and as soon as I read it, I forwarded this to my friends, and it read that OnlyFans have reversed the decision to ban adult content. And I was just like, that is the best bit of PR marketing I've ever seen.
Well, they were looking to list on the stock exchange.
Yeah, I think that's the next move for them. But
so is this, was it a legitimate backflip because of pressure, or is it a scam? Or?
They're blaming the banks, saying that the banks do not want to accept payments for adult content. But their MasterCard have come out and said they'll accept all payments. They're happy to take it. So everyone was talking about OnlyFans, like globally. And people asking people on different podcasts, how much money are these girls making? All men. And I know that some of the viewers say, oh, they're only making $500, but it's nonsense. They're making tens of thousands of dollars. Lots of them.
Some are.
Some are, the best ones. Yeah.
If you had an OnlyFans account, it might only be $500.
True. But yeah, they're making good money. I think this has only created a massive buzz around OnlyFans. There's many people who are saying, oh, you're an OnlyFans, you might be, what we define as, a slut. But these people are now looking and being like, oh, I would like to go on OnlyFans because of the amount of money some of these content creators are making. It is crazy. So did they come out and say this just for a big PR piece? I mean...
Yeah, I think it's genius because they also kind of took a stand. So it also goes to show if they want to go in the stock market, people would be like, oh, okay, OnlyFans can stand up for themselves. They're not going to be backed down by anyone. So I think it's a great move.
Do either of you, I think I know your answer, but either of you have friends who have an OnlyFans account doing adult content?
Yes, I have. I have. I mean, I know multiple people in Phuket, specifically girls that have OnlyFans accounts, and I know how much they're making. There are websites that tells you how much the estimates of them making, and it is shocking. I'm shocked. You know, I'm thinking, hey, you know, like, how can you make that type of money with very limited amount of output?
You can definitely make a living. So I don't have friends who do adult content, but they're models who do who just started part-time, but they make a very good living.
And of course, a step down from that is all the Instagrammers, they call themselves influencers, who have got huge accounts and big followings, and then they don't sell adult content, but they sell products and things and get companies to sponsor them. So that's the next level down, which of course is another big digital disruption.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have a quick break. We'll come back with the main news stories today, including the big story around Thailand about this missing policeman from Nakkon Sawan. You're watching Good Morning Thailand. Police have now launched a massive manhunt for the former Nakkon Sawan police station chief who led an alleged torture leading to the death of a 24-year-old drug suspect. All this while attempting to extort 2 million baht from the victim while in police custody. Immigration police and checkpoints have been put on alert, but senior police fear that Police Colonel Titisan Uttanapon may have had the means to have already slipped through the border. Details continue to emerge, firstly, of his lavish lifestyle, which included a sprawling 2-acre property in Bangkok, 13 luxury and sports cars. Secondly, the state-run Sawan Pracharak Hospital, also in Nakkon Sawan, which issued a death certificate for the dead 24-year-old, have defended their finding that methamphetamine poisoning was the cause of death. That finding was also released before the release of the incriminating video this week. Initially, the chief of the Nakkon Sawan police station who led the torture was transferred to another police station, but has now been missing for the past 4 days, just before the release of the video. 7 warrants for arrest have now been issued, 5 police have been detained. All face charges for dereliction of duty, torture and murder. Bangkok's private sector is proposing its own reopening in the capital, not too originally called the Bangkok Sandbox. The president of the Thai Chamber of Commerce said they've concocted a plan to start reopening businesses in Bangkok safely by limiting their customers to only those people who have been vaccinated. The Bangkok Sandbox plan proposed would take 3 steps to allow for reopening: create a standard and certification for COVID-19 safety, create a digital health pass, and begin with a small pilot program. The system would ensure that certified businesses in the Bangkok Sandbox have at least 70% of employees vaccinated, and that health and safety guidelines to protect against COVID-19 are being followed at the businesses. But even that milestone is a long way off in the capital at this stage. Meanwhile, in the capital, City Hall in Bangkok is planning a new service called BMV, which stands for Bangkok Mobile Vaccination Unit. The service is a bus that drives to people's houses and provides vaccination services. The service is set to start next week, but it's not yet clear which areas will be the first visited. I'm sort of seeing a Mr. Whippy van driving around with the music playing. The bus will have medical equipment, including a bed, blood pressure monitor, a refrigerator for vaccine storage, and a defibrillator. The news comes on the heels of the announcement that Thailand has backtracked on their purchase of 8.5 million antigen tests. And the number of weekly rolling COVID-19 infections in Phuket is poised to pass 800, as 5 of the last 7 days have seen infections of over 100 people, and the 7-day total is now at 798. According to the Phuket Provincial Public Health Office, yesterday marked a new daily high of 156 new infections and 1 new death. 79 more potential cases were uncovered with antigen test kits, but are not considered official until the patients have been tested using the more reliable RT-PCR tests. 444 people are currently being held at COVID-19 care centres, awaiting confirmation of another test, whilst 1,226 people still remain hospitalised or under medical supervision on the island. 958 hospital beds are currently occupied by COVID patients. So that's some of the main news stories from around Thailand today. You can go to thetiger.com for all the latest news, and we'll be back with the regional news plus more with Mike and Jay right after this on Good Morning Thailand. Good morning, Thailand. It's Thursday, the 26th of August. You can get all the latest news at thetiger.com and also lots and lots of information about just about everything Thailand. Mike and Jay, let's have a talk about this case. We've now got a missing policeman who it appears has been involved in a heinous crime, and there's a lot of hand-wringing over how this person has been allowed to possibly have escaped Thailand. We don't know where he is, but the immigration police say they've got the checkpoints out and they're looking for him. Is this, and then there's the video yesterday of 4 policemen being led away with their heads covered, and a lot of people saying, no, that's just a show, they're not even the real police. Big story, what do you think?
It's like The Sopranos. I mean, I watched the video and I've never seen anything quite like that. So for those who haven't watched the video, there will be a link somewhere, I guess, in the description.
We'll put a link under this video. We can't actually show the video on YouTube because they don't like content like that. Obviously, it's quite distressing to a lot of people. But if you do want to see, we've got a full, unedited, wide shot if you really feel inclined to see what happened at the police station.
So you see a few gentlemen put a plastic bag over someone's head and beat them, and then followed by putting another plastic bag over someone's head. I mean,
and then tightening it.
So, I mean, there's this whole concept of, was it a shakedown or was it murder? My take is that does not look like a shakedown. You know, they kind of saw what was going on. There was multiple people involved, and this was them trying to kill someone. I mean, I think saying this is attempted murder will kind of reduce the sentence down wherever it comes. It's like, oh, we didn't mean to kill him, we were just trying to get money. I think looking at the video, it was kind of obvious to me that they were trying to kill him.
Wouldn't there be an easier way to murder somebody without having all these witnesses, and for heaven's sake, CCTV camera shooting the whole thing? You're not a really smart cop if you're going to allow video to record the whole thing.
Well, the video was, I mean, you know, I believe the video was became viral and went out because one of the younger officers kind of put that out, because originally this happened on August the 4th. So it's been a couple of weeks now, and then I guess some young officer took a stand and put the video out, and now we know about this. But
the video is like CCTV. It's a video up in the corner of the station.
But I also believe
they say, put a bag over that CCTV.
I also believe it would be naive to think that this hasn't happened before.
Yeah.
Now, you know,
absolutely,
especially with this rogue cop who's gone and taken matters into his own hands and, you know, done this awful thing. And
he's got 13 luxury cars.
Exactly. And how did he get those cars? And he looks quite young. He's not even a mature, you know, old officer.
And the shots of his property in Bangkok.
Yeah. When I saw his picture, I was just shocked. I was like, oh, okay. He's definitely done, not allegedly, not exactly this, but he seems very comfortable, because they didn't want to kill him. They just wanted to shake him down, and unfortunately, he just...
I mean, when you watch the video,
yeah.
I mean, it looks like they're trying to kill him, and I think that the complacency of having the video there, that they didn't seem to care, just shows you the corruption on an institutional level here,
yeah.
that actually exists for them to be so complacent. There's a video camera there. It's like, we must have done this multiple times.
Yeah.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
Exactly.
And
so what does this do to the reputation of Thailand? Of course, we're trying to attract foreigners to come back. This video is literally going viral right around the world and does nothing about the reputation of Thailand and the safety of people here. I mean, this would have happened to foreigners as well. If there's shakedowns to a 24-year-old alleged drug criminal, be assured that this has happened to foreigners as well.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I guess people have their own opinions. What has happened is absolutely awful. It's horrific. It shouldn't happen to anyone. But there are people out there who are not as distressed, because they might think that, oh, he's a drug dealer, his life is not important. But at the end of the day, he's a human being.
And some people will say he deserved it. They've openly said it on... I find that particular view quite distressing, that anybody would think that. At the end of the day, this person deserved his day in court like anybody else. he didn't get that chance. So he remains an alleged drug criminal.
But I believe that we can't just highlight Thailand. Institutional crime on this level exists everywhere. We've seen it in the US with the outrage of the protests. We see it. This is happening everywhere. It's just this one was more stupid than the other ones because it was caught on CCTV in the police station. I mean, the whole thing is utterly ridiculous. I mean, for them to be that complacent, I think that's what the issue is. But this is happening everywhere, not just Thailand.
All right, gentlemen, we'll have another quick break and go to our regional headlines, and then we'll come back and we're going to have a bit of a look through the Thailand crystal ball about what Thailand is going to be like post-pandemic. And this is Good Morning Thailand. We've got Mike, and we've got Jay, and we've got you. Thanks for watching.
Indonesian President Joko Widodo's approval rating has fallen to the lowest level in 5 years, on the back of a devastating second wave of the country's coronavirus infections. US VP Kamala Harris called on Vietnam yesterday to join the US to challenge China's bullying in the South China Sea, in a continuation of her sharp rhetoric against Beijing during her Southeast Asia tour this week. Russia is ready to deliver its Panzer missile defense systems to the Myanmar military on schedule, according to the sales contract. Whilst VP Kamala Harris said Washington is committed to supporting the Burmese people in their attempts to restore democracy. Lao Ministry of Health reported 952 new COVID infections yesterday, the highest ever daily tally since the outbreak began in March last year. 22 more Filipinos who have evacuated from the now Taliban-ruled Afghanistan have arrived back in the Philippines.
Welcome back to Good Morning Thailand. We were going to have a bit of a look at the crystal ball, but we've decided during the break we're going to talk about, we'll sort of keep talking about the corruption in Thailand. Mike, you've got a few stories about situations or run-ins with the local constabulary. I've had a few as well. I think Jay's the only one with a clean sheet on the panel.
I've only got a parking ticket, pretty much.
Yeah. Sinner! Okay, Mike, what happened to you?
Well, I think you can break this into levels. You've got the small level ones where I think everyone's seen this, where you're on a motorbike. You might be wearing a helmet, you might not be, but there'll be 20 different tyres going through on bikes, 5 people on bikes, 3 with no helmets, 2 standing up facing backwards, and they will literally single you out. You could be wearing a helmet or no helmet and just pull you over, and you're like, hold on a second, did you not see what was going on behind us? But so you have kind of definitely targeted corruption on a very small level, and that's just to kind of 500 baht you.
And it's always about 11 o'clock in the morning, just before lunchtime.
Oh yeah, and they put them right in the middle of the tourist hotspots.
Yes.
And it's only foreigners really being.
It's a little bit obvious.
Yeah, it is, and it's just like, okay, well it's 10 quid, or in the UK, that's not terrible. You can live with it, but it's still, you feel unfairly treated. But having a business here, we've got multiple offices. We've had some interesting dilemmas with police. We've had them walk into office multiple times, no warrants.
And these are sort of basically shakedowns trying to allegedly extort people for work permit infractions.
Oh yeah, total shakedowns. It's been very odd. I've had 3, multiple times, few, whether they're police officers, they don't really show you any documents. It could be anyone, really, just coming in. It could be tourist police or something else, walking in and just being like, trying to technically shake me down and get money from us. But at the same time, chatting up women in the office and asking them for their numbers in Thai while this is going on, walking around picking up documents, no care. We've had this before, and it's been quite difficult to manage. So
last time though, you decided you would stand up to it.
Oh yeah, so we had this multiple times, mainly in the tourist markets. We have offices all over the country, but in the tourist markets, it's like Phuket and Pattaya. For us, this seems to happen a lot more. So we had this multiple times. There's always a huge fee, in terms of, setting lists. But at this point, I was like, if you don't leave, I've got this on camera and I'm putting this on the Thaiger. It's going on the Thaiger. And it was outrageous what was going on in the office. People coming in demanding money. And in the end, it kind of all went away. People were saying you shouldn't do that, you can walk into trouble, but I think...
Well, I think we could probably say if the Thai police do line you up or get you in a situation where they're demanding money, don't necessarily do what Mike did. I think you got away lightly on that one. The best thing to do is to call the tourist police immediately, and then also call your consulate or embassy. That's the correct thing to do. Don't sign anything, and don't pay any money, and don't agree to go away with the police. That would be, I suppose, the best advice.
Yeah, and it's a bit scary. I mean, look, 99% of the police that we've met here are absolutely fantastic and doing a great job. I can honestly say, the hand on my heart, it's always tarnished like everything, like a bad few. So this is not something that you expect from everyone. It's just happening on a very low level basis.
Jay,
Yes.
You cannot tell me that you have never been pulled up for a helmet infraction.
Well, I've never driven a motorbike. It's too. I feel it's too dangerous to drive a motorbike in Phuket. But I've only driven a car, and I've only had a parking ticket, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh my God. So I mean,
Why is that such a bad thing?
Well, they don't see you as a foreigner.
Yes, that too. So
Right.
if I do ever get stopped, if I roll down my window and I just say "Swadee khap," what's is there something wrong? They'll just be like, let it go. And to be honest, it also depends on how you look, what type of car you're driving, your car number plate for a lot of people. So sometimes they don't even stop. They just see you. Okay, he looks Thai, decent car, just go. Like Mike said, some people are targeted, and sometimes they do target specific people. They're not always looking for foreigners. Sometimes they're looking for people who potentially might have drugs or whatever, certain characteristics of certain people.
That's why I thought they might have spoken to you. You look a bit dodgy.
But I'm just thinking out loud in here. I wonder why, for us specifically and other businesses, it's slowed down. I do think it's the evolution of smartphones. I think before there was no way to kind of deal with this, but now you literally pull out your phone, and it's a challenging move. No one wants to be on YouTube tomorrow because of the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, like you've seen with this video with the police officers. So I think the evolution of smartphones, the cameras, the ability just to record and click, I think it's too risky now to actually go and do this. I think actually these type of kind of shakedowns will happen less and less and less as it gets recorded and documented throughout the process.
But Mike, sorry, quick question. In Thailand in general, growing up, me amongst my friends, normally I wouldn't dare to take my phone out and start recording a police officer. You see this being a lot more common in US, where people have their rights, and I know my rights. I wouldn't even dare to start talking about my rights if a police officer stopped me. I'd just be like, I know nothing, please let me go.
So 100%. So I got told when this was happening initially to wire them, bring them a basket after they've taken all my money of a gift to the local authorities, and thank them basically for coming in. And guess what? They just came back. Right? This was the issue. They just kept coming back. And after that, I thought, you know what? Boop. Do that again. And it was a challenging move. I was a bit concerned, but the reality is it went away.
Bottom line is they haven't been back in, 18 months?
Quite longer. I think 2.5 years. We were having it every 6 months at multiple offices.
Well, we can look forward to them next week.
Yes. I'll come back with a bit of a reversal of this situation. We're going to have the weather around Thailand first. We've got Jay, we've got Mike here, and we're going to have finish our talk about alleged corruption in Thailand. You're watching Good Morning Thailand. We've got 29 degrees as the top in the capital today. Clear air across the city, but up to 31 tomorrow, then 29 for the first day of the weekend. Temperatures down to as low as 23 over the next 3 days. Down to the Bangkok Sandbox and a temperature of 28 today. Much the same over the next few days with slightly decreasing rain. Certainly a lot of rain overnight, down to 27 overnight. Today we've got fairly clear air on the island to Thailand's northeast and bordering on moderately good air, but still considered good. We've got temperatures of 32 today, 29 tomorrow, then down to 28 on Saturday. And then in Chiang Mai up in the north, we've got clear skies, a temperature of 30 degrees today, down to 28 by Saturday. Looks like generally across Thailand we've got lowering temperatures over the next few days. Temperatures down to 22 overnight, to the central Gulf Coast, and 27 degrees today, but up to 30 tomorrow, 29. Looks like good consistent weather there over the next few days. A bit of this and that, but plenty of sunshine and clear skies. To Pattaya, we've got 27 degrees today, much the same over the next few days, down to 24 and 25 overnight. Well, what can we say? Very clear air over Pattaya and Chonburi. You're watching Good Morning Thailand, allegedly, and we're speaking about corruption in Thailand, allegedly. Now, I just wanted to share with you both the two cases where I have used the corruption system in Thailand to my own end. One was when I was caught in a traffic accident when two young underage boys on a motorbike without helmets slammed into the side of my car, were injured and went to hospital. And I was legally in the clear. I was just sitting at a traffic light and they ran into me out of control. But I was taken back to my house and instructed that I had to pay for the boys' medical fees and also make a payment of 25,000 baht. Now, in the end, I negotiated that down, but I did call the consulate and the tourist police came and acted on my behalf and reduced the amount. So you can negotiate these shakedowns in many cases. And the other time, when I wanted to get to the front of a queue, I was invited, this was at immigration, I was invited, if I wanted to make a cash payment, I'd be able to move to the front of what seemed to me to be a very long queue, 200 baht, but I gladly paid it in that case because at that time, time was money. So am I complicit in the corruption in Thailand for doing this? Well, probably.
I have a question. Do you believe that this happens more so in the tourist areas? My guess, and I can't say certainly, that in Bangkok it would probably happen less than it would outside the central business kind of district. So,
well, does it happen to Thais? Are Thais getting these shakedowns? Forgetting the case that, of course, the big elephant in the room at the moment, but does these sort of shakedowns happen daily to Thais as well?
Well, maybe they deal with it in a different way. So we're all well aware of what goes on and what needs to be done. So if you want to have, if you're going to live here and you're going to have a business, and if you know this happens, why not just keep a good relationship with them? And if you go out of your way to make them feel welcome, they will also respond in that way too. So maybe they don't get in as much trouble because they kind of welcome it and they know this is how things are. We just need to do this and everything will be happy and we'll run our business prosperously.
But if you're running your business in Bangla Road and you're having to pay tea money every month to keep your doors open, is that keeping the police happy, or are you just complicit in the whole corruption system?
Well, they wouldn't do it if it wasn't worth it to them. They're probably getting a much bigger gain. So they'd be like, okay, I'll give you 5% and I'll make 95. So, we can't just say, oh, it's all the cops. Sometimes it's the business owners as well.
All right. Any final things to say to bury ourselves in this corruption discussion before we go? Bring it on.
I think we all know it's present. We all know it prevails in especially in Southeast Asia, especially in emerging markets, and outside of Southeast Asia, obviously.
I suppose we should also say the police in Thailand are paid very little. And to me, if you're going to pay so little to people who have so much power, you're really just leaving the corruption system open to grow the way it has.
Yeah. And
to flourish.
But I think there's levels of this. I think the whole helmet kind of pulling them over, that we can turn a blind eye to that. I think what we've seen on that video is a different level of corruption. This is more like Soprano style gangsters. And it's very concerning that exists within any institutional kind of government body. Yeah.
And we'll do our best to keep you up to date with that particular story and all the other news at thetiger.com. Please subscribe to the channel. There's a link underneath. You can also become a member and help us get from where we are at the moment to where we're going in the future. And we do have some very exciting plans coming up. Jay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
Mike, thanks for popping in.
Thank you.
Have you got a topic for tomorrow?
No, but we might put out a survey actually to see a quick poll on the Thaiger and put a few topics there. And we'll work with you, the audience, to kind of determine, which one we should be talking about tomorrow.
Good idea. Okay, thank you for watching Good Morning Thailand. Have a fantastic Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.